Hello people, today is going to be a face-on knife review, partly because I am sick of doing the phantom hands format and partly because I cut my finger. So tonight for the Friday Night Knives edition, I'm going to be doing a stand-up review of the TRM Atom, which I've had for a little while now, thank goodness. Oh, so this is what you guys all have been talking about. My first TRM for sure, not gonna be my last. The Neutron 2 is definitely something that I'm looking forward to. But I did get the carbon fiber model, the non-contour, so it's flat. The contoured is definitely something I would go for. I am far more into contour than just square, but the flat is still quite nice. Quick little bit, ergos on this are good. A very subtle yet still distinct choil action, which is quite nice for lots of different stuff, including the ever necessary fingering the blade for you to get some good up close tip work as opposed to like on there. Again, nice choke back, no jimping, no need for it. The extra wide thumb studs do provide you a little bit extra leverage for your thumb to feel like it's not just balancing on that little bit there when you cinch down. Tail rolls down to a nice drop tail there so that it doesn't dig into your hand and rolls right with it and into it. Fantastic ergos on this sucker. Enough with that. Let's get to some of the size comparisons. This is the large size, so here it is next to the large size feldspar. You may notice similarities. Just to say, the feldspar is one of my favorite all-around knives and definitely one of my favorite budget knives for its ergonomics and its contoured handle and blade shape. And yeah, Neutron's cool. Going to be cool. Atom's cool as well. Rat 1 and D2, again, similar in size, better in hand placement. Another large knife here to give a sense of scale on the large knives, and that is the Kershaw bare knuckle. This one also in 20 CV. Another good one, the bare knuckle. I'll tell you what, holding the bare knuckle and the Atom together makes me wish the bare knuckle had a choil. Better choil. One that you could actually put your finger into. Couple others just to get them out of the way. You see VV Elementum. Ooh, it's tiny compared to that. Yep, sure enough. One more just to get in here as far as the small kind of standard, the Para 3. It is definitely larger. One last one here on the small ones, not just any leak, but a random leak. It is definitely smaller than the Atom. And one other one that is uniquely close is the Kershaw Blur. I'll tell you what, nothing makes me wish the Kershaws had a choil more than this knife. That being said, all right, back to this design on it. You know, that blade stock. If y'all haven't ever seen it, let me clue you in. It is the same thickness blade stock as a Spyderco. Oh, I better get them up there at the same distance away so you can tell. As a Spyderco Dragonfly at the spine. A ridiculously thin blade stock, slicey little knife. Not having to move the material you're cutting very far out of the way means that it's easier to move through such material, especially if it doesn't stick. The nearly full flat grind on this really maximizes that thin material. Full flat would maximize it even more, but this is pretty darn close. And it gets so ridiculously thin behind the edge, and that the point, I'll have to come back. If you're really looking to put force behind with your pointer, if you look, it makes a relatively nice arc with the hand down to the tip, so you know that the tip's right in front of your finger. If you're doing it with the thumb, see if I can do that. If you see, again, the arc here, the line going down to the tip, it's right where you are. It's good. This is really good. You choke up and you got it like that. You're kind of going in. You're kind of looking towards this sort of action, right? You're really like shaving or slicing something. tip action to like pick a sliver. Absolutely can put the middle finger there and then finger the blade to get it. You choke up to get this way. You can get also your middle finger on there, and again the pointer up there to really work the tip, score things, make cuts on like fabric or paper and other little tiny, not so deep but scoring type cuts. Fantastic for it. And even the relatively thin, slim handles, they're nested on this, which is nice. This sucker is thin. It's not overly done in the hand. I absolutely love that pocket clip with the rise. Again, rounded screw heads, not flush, but I actually like that because they take advantage of it. Let's see if I can get it where it'll show the light there. They definitely take advantage of it by making these screw heads deep set, less likely to strip out, is how you can translate that. So absolutely fantastic. This is the largest knife I currently can wear in athletic shorts. And I love it for that. It has more than enough room. The smoothness of the scales allows it to go under. The bill and pocket clip has just the right amount of spring that it'll go for jeans and shorts. I've had the pleasure of being able to wear it with both. My honeymoon phase with this is not completely over, though I have had some other knives that come in that definitely catch my eye, but this thing is so easy to carry, and now I really want a Neutron too. I can see why if people get this first, why you don't get other knives. You get a couple other and you'll be spoiled for other knives. Yeah, that one's coming. But yeah, you take I mean, other than just the elegance of the design, which really lends to the aesthetics, you guys. The only break in curves is where there's this delicately distinct choil. It's not even clear. It's not like a full finger, but there's one of the only pointy parts in where the hand goes, where it gives you a distinct place between the two finger placements. Everything else, like you see on the back, one basically continuous line with the right adjustments to the curve in the right place. Good, long, straight, beautifully, elegantly designed and executed stuff. It is aesthetically and design-wise very well done. Everything fits. Mechanics, which for most of this is going to be action and slicing. Oh, and for those of you who didn't just catch that, see how that fits right on the thumb? Well done. Absolutely nice. Not only that, but I'm doing different levels of that all the way down to the bottom. It is, ooh, on the mechanics. How do I even put this? Smooth? Yes, absolutely. But perhaps more importantly is that the detent and everything is just right that you can easily roll it out without having that quick little pop you got to get on the bottom while having it still drop, or just the tip and a little push and it snaps right out. That's a beautiful tuned detent on the liner lock. The bronze washers, I believe, is what this is. I haven't pulled it apart yet. Let's get into about where it is. It's not quite as smooth as it could be, but you can drop shut, not exactly, though really, really close. For bronze washers, amazing. But more importantly is this. Other than that first bit where you're trying to get it to go, I can make it go just a little bit or a lot by simply adjusting the pressure I use to flip that down. Can drop it and then use a good amount. That little bit is always the hardest. Right, you can drop it and get just a little bit at a time. You can wiggle it down, go all the way down, or you can just really give it a good snap. It goes down. It's not drop shot, but it is so smooth and controllable. A tap and it drops. And it just is smooth. That thin blade stock will take anything down as long as you're not trying to chop a tree or something of really hard bits. The 20 CV is kind of chippy anyway, but you talk about slicing, you talk about paper, rope, you know, some fibrous material. It's not going to be as good as a serrated on some of that stuff. My God, the edge comes wickedly sharp. This is so thin and slicey. It does not take much for it to get through material, you guys. I can't begin it. The physics of cutting, if you're not familiar with the edge geometry and all that sort of stuff, one of the basic things is this. You're taking a wedge and you're moving it through something. And in order for it to continue moving, the stuff to new stuff, it has to move the stuff it's cut through already out of the way, right? So when you're moving, that's why paper like rolls and it bends, and after you've cut it, it like goes two different directions or one direction. It's moving the old stuff out of the way while it gets to new stuff. The thinner the blade stock is to do so, the easier it's going to pass through to new material because it doesn't have to work as hard to move the old stuff out of the way. Perceived effort is fine there. It has nothing to do with the edge, has everything to do with moving the material out of the way. Softer materials, hollow grinds, give you a little air gap, which allows you to do that. But either way, generally speaking, to move it through material on a consistent basis with low effort, you need a thinner stock. It moves the material less in order to move forward more. So that's definitely something that is good enough. Again, that's a basic breakdown of the geometry, you guys. That being said, this is a great knife. I mean, really, design, yeah. Well thought out, nothing that doesn't need to be there. Yeah, it's not ambidextrous, but I realize like 10 to 12% of the people out there are. I'm not. So it's less of a issue for me, but if you are left-handed, you might want to try and find another one. The aesthetics, it's elegantly simple and wonderfully functional. You got all of the right design points for function in a beautifully simple and elegant aesthetics. I love it. And again, the mechanics, action is on point. Plenty of cutout to get your finger in there and release a liner that is quite easily. In fact, I'll even do it left-handed style. But yeah, lots of room. Even a big thumb can be in there and won't get tagged by it. It easily drops to the halfway point. You can snap it shut with a flick, your finger. Liner has no problem. Clip has that extra gap right at the front so that it can get easily over where it bends and then slide into where the screw heads are. The screw heads aren't flush, but they're second best at rounded, which means things easily roll over them and don't get caught. Fully deep carry, no lanyard, don't need it. What's there not to like? Again, TRM Atom. If you haven't already looked at a million reviews that say this is a good knife, here's another one. This is a good knife. Not only is it a good knife, this is a great knife. Yeah, they're hard to get. There's a reason why people wait for them. They're really, really good. And yeah, wow. Still working on a couple things. I have a lot of great ideas about this knife. I would suppose a Barbie doll knife needs a Ken doll scale. I don't know. We'll see. So this is called. For those of you who don't know, these are swappable scales without taking the knife apart. The pivot head does not hold the scales in. It is just the two screws and the pocket clip. So they are pretty much hot swappable, if you know that term from computer terms. These are hot swappable scales. You don't have to take the knife apart to swap the scales on this sucker, which is nice. And that includes not disassembling the pivot or messing up anything in order to change it, which means you never have to retune your knife just to change the scales. And they have a lot of different scales, so you can essentially buy one or two knives and dress them up different if you wanna. That being said, you guys, this is a hard one to fault. You can see there's definitely some extra liner on the cartridge up top there where it goes to hit the stop pin. That little extra bit of sort of, I guess, robustness is welcome. It makes for snappy action. It also gives you a really solid place to put your thumb that feels smooth and metallic and not like the scales. regardless of the scale I put on there, that'll always be something you're touching, which is nice. So if you don't like certain scales, or you got some of the more rough ones, who knows? Anyway, man. Intended purpose of this knife is definitely EDC. This is not a hard knife. It lives up to that. Expectations should be high for this knife. I'm going to tell you right now, I had ridiculously high expectations for this knife, and it's as good as they say, if not better. I expected it to be really good, and it's great. I don't know how else to put that. This is fantastical for an EDC daily use knife. As like I said, if you're not trying to go out and do survivor tasks with this, if you're not trying to do construction tasks, this is not a hard use knife. This is an EDC knife where you might do string, rope, paper, plastic, tons of stuff, cardboard, right? All those sort of things that you sometimes just need to shave or cut stuff off of, and you don't really need to like whittle or anything like that. 20 CV steel, little bit chippy, could be a little bit tougher. Outstanding edge retention. Ease of sharpening for the edge retention is top. It's one of the few you can get a decent, I won't say great, you can get a decently rough edge on. You're like a 600 grit edge on with a ceramic stone for the edge retention that you get. I have done it before. Too much more finer than that, you're risking stuff. I've moved to diamonds since I did that, but yeah, it's definitely a good one. Thin blade stock. Oh my God, the way that this just tears through it. You can get a different edge. My guess is this is a little bit finer than 600. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but a little bit finer than 600 grit. Not 100% sure. I would think it's actually more close to about 1,000, just from my personal experience, close to that 9 to 12 micron finish. Probably a little bit of all of that in there. That being said, you guys, the expectations were high. This knife exceeded them. Design is on point. The aesthetics, while a subjective one, the fact that this has just such beautiful lines and curves that go to such a distinct yet classic shape, to me means they really hit the aesthetics and design on point. Mechanics, from ergonomics to smoothness of action to snappiness out of the box, the ability to control both the opening and closing with whatever speed you need. Mechanics, right on point. And then the other stuff, the nice stuff, right? What's it looking like? What do I expect from the knife? What are the notable points? Thin blade stock, comfortable ergonomic handle, comes squared, different scales available, including contoured, different materials, different colors, ease of going in there. Any particular specials about it, this isn't a hard use knife. That's about the only thing I can say about it. This is not meant for extremely hard use. This is a daily EDC, excuse me. Don't mean the air conditioning just totally destroying that there. This is a really good EDC knife. This is fantastic. And again, you should have high expectations. I have yet to see a really terrible review. At worst, I've seen people who like hard use knives or something like that say, yeah, this is cool, but it's not for me. Which most of their hard use knives, I feel the same way. It's a good knife, but it's not for me. This is a great knife. If you don't like phosphor bronze, this is the knife that's going to change your mind, right? It is smooth, snappy, controllable, easily to, if you don't want to scare people, you can do it the slow roll way, do your thing, and then slowly, or just, right, you can. It's a TRM Atom. It is the OG TRM, and it is well worth it. That's about all I got, you guys. This is a fantastical knife. It is one of the few knives I'm going to give a full 5 stars. The only thing that I can say I don't like about this knife is that I wish it was a little smaller, or more importantly, this really makes me want the Neutron too. Okay, this is just such a great knife. Top notch, worth the money, worth the investment. And my God, that blade stock, it's so thin. Beautiful, love it. Marianne and everybody at TRM, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all of the emails. This was not provided by them. This is my own personal one I paid for with my own money. And so this is indeed my particular version of the TRM Atom I paid for. So this wasn't something they supplied. This was something I got on the wait list and got in on one of the drops. So you guys can too. You just got to be diligent. They come out every now and then, and they are continuously adding production capacity. That being said, you guys, I have hit the 20-minute mark, and all I have is praise for this knife. I really wish I could say something more. Everything I have to say about it is quite honestly a very subjective. I really wish now I'd have gotten the contoured version, or I'd have to do it. They could use some swappable inlays. No lanyard hole, 3 spacers. The only thing I could say, though, this is not a complaint, is that how difficult it is to take apart once you've pulled the scales apart. But the fact of the matter is, that's one of the selling points, is that it's solid when you take the scales off. It's a well-built liner knife, a liner lock knife that has, nested liners, and is a fantastic knife. Yes, they're a couple $100, but I've held $300-$400 knives that are at best matching this quality. I would say at best matching for the little bit that I've held a few. Different brands, ZT, all that stuff. This is wow. This is one of the few knives, I'm going to tell you, that really has me as a manufacturer where I really want to see the rest of their stuff. There's some of the big ones like, the Spyderco knife's going to be good. I have a Zach Brown Southern Grind, which I have been very impressed with the build quality on the Spider Monkeys. I don't have a bad monkey. It's too big for me. Too much knife. But yeah, this one is right at the limit of what I can carry and what I want to carry. It only fits in so much of my daily carry stuff. But man, you get me into that 3 1/4 or less, below 3 1/2, you start getting me into that Neutron territory, and man, they start looking pretty sweet. That being said, you guys, this has been another dose of Drew and Friday Night Knives. This is the TRM Atom as the start of our Friday Night Knives. I'm still a little bit in the honeymoon stage, and it's definitely a beautiful lifetime knife for you guys, just to let you know. You can dress it up in different stuff, still looks pretty darn good, and still does the trick when you need it. It's a lifetime tool that's well built and has a lot of different features that make it something useful, interesting, and a pleasure to carry. I gotta tell you, I see why everyone raves about it and why people wait so long. It's a great knife. It's gonna be a great knife. Keep waiting for it, you guys. Try and get in. They deserve every sale they make. This is a beautiful, beautiful thing right here. And you know what? If nothing else, it's an atom. It makes up everything. Don't trust it. Just kidding. Beautiful knife, you guys. Like I said, I'm a fan of the carbon fiber. This is definitely a carbon fiber. I have several other options in mind, and I'm definitely looking at it, and this is a knife that's going to be in my collection for a long time. One of the ones that I will not be getting rid of until I absolutely have to. Beautiful functional tool, and an EDC dream, quite honestly. So that's it, you guys. TRM Atom, buy it, get on the waiting list, take a look at it. You just heard another person tell you how awesome it is. There's tons of videos online. There's tons of other people. You'll see nothing but great reviews. Very few people are going to hate this knife because it's done well. It's a testament when even your detractors will tell you it's still well done. It's just great. Buy it if you can. Save the money. It's worth saving for. I don't know how much more praise I can put on this knife. Mary, Ann, and you guys, all you folks at TRM, you're doing a fine job. Thank you so much for the wonderful knife. And I still love to carry it. Thank you so much. And everyone else has been a Dose of Drew. Go ahead and watch this twice. Think about it all night. Call me in the morning and come on back and like and subscribe. Thank you so much.